Welcome to the podcast where we're harvesting humor, planting delight. Join us, Iona and Cammy. Let's have some fun. It's time for Fed by Farmers.
Hello and welcome to the Fed by Farmers podcast with me, Cammy Wilson.
And me, Iona Murray.
This is a weird setup. If you're watching on YouTube, we are sitting sort of side by side. It almost looks like one of those mad Al-Qaeda hostage videos. Doesn't it?
It does.
It's like we're going to send a message back to
that's
say,
exactly what it's like.
free, we seek diplomatic immunity. Could I just start by saying, I'm out my zone here, I don't know what I'm doing. Thank you very much to our sponsors, which are
Crystalyx and Herdwatch.
Crystalyx and the Herdwatch. Thanks very much for sponsoring the podcast. Crystalyx, we have actually some out just now with some ewes that we're going to tup early.
Okay.
Tup a few early. I say early, like tup them for like March lambing. This is my new idea to try and get more out of less. You have less tups.
Okay. Oh, so give them a break.
Well,
then...
yeah, we're going to do, let's say we do 17 days.
Mm-hmm.
So like a full cycle with the tup just now, then out for 13, 14 days, then back in.
Okay.
And just try and look after them, and we'll see.
Yeah. Give it a go.
2 week break, that's plenty of time for me. We'll try it. It's kind of like the spring and autumn calving thing when you've got bulls, like you get a double done to them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do it with rams. We'll see. Keep the costs down. Anyway, thanks to Crystalyx and Herdwatch as well. We're at the Ploughing Champs in Ireland, so I'm actually on, well, by the time this is out, I'll have done my stint on the Herdwatch stand here at the Ploughing Champs. But if you're hearing this and you're coming to the ploughing, do stop in and see the stand. They have a minted looking stand.
Yeah, actually, it's so good.
Yeah, they've spent a bit of money on it, I can tell. I'll try and find out how much they spent on it, because that's always good gossip. You'll hear more about them in the podcast, but listen, this is a long one already. And we're out the studio.
Who have we got?
Matt Griffin.
Okay.
Another one I did when you weren't here, Iona. He has managed farms over New Zealand. He's managed farms back here in the UK. He's currently in Peebles in Scotland, managing a big outfit there. We're going to hear... Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Neidpath Farms.
Why do I know that? I know Neidpath.
Because we've sent stuff there.
Oh,
Some
have
fencing
we?
stuff. That's maybe it.
Maybe, maybe.
Maybe. Anyway, we're going to hear from Matt from Neidpath Farms. We have a great chat with him. Really great ideas about a lot of stuff. Might open your mind to other forms of farming and other things that are important to the land and to farming. So without any further ado, here's Matt.
And we're joined by Mr. Matt Griffin at his home base here at Neidpath Farms. What's this farm we're on just now?
We're in Peebles in the Scottish borders. We're only a mile out of Peebles, so right next to the River Tweed behind us.
And this is just part, is this Neidpath Farm? Or it's just part of Neidpath Farms?
This is part of Neidpath Farms, who are on Edston Farm.
Edston, okay. Yeah. And what is Neidpath Farms?
Neidpath Farms is a collection of in-hand farms on a wider estate.
Okay.
It's about 2,500 acres we're farming.
So you're farming to over how many farms, do you know?
That's over 4 farms. Yeah, so there's sort of 2 bigger farms, and each of the bigger farms has a smaller supporting farm.
Right, okay. And so your 4 farm, is that just the ones that are in hand? I take it, is the estate get more?
Yeah, the estate's got other things going on. There's a couple of tenant farms, there's a bit of forestry, there's a bit of wedding venue, and a few holiday cottages.
Do you have anything to do with the wedding venue? That's all separate?
No, nothing.
You'll be glad.
I just look after the farming,
Yeah. And what's your background in farming?
Yeah, interesting. I'm not directly from farming. So I have an uncle who has a small dairy farm in Devon.
Okay.
Sort of where the passion started. And then worked on a local dairy farm that had quite a big sheep flock. And they sort of dragged me out of the dairy and onto the sheep. And that's where my interest in sort of the sheep side of things started. Did agriculture college and then sort of went up through my career that way.
So obviously getting a bit of working with the sheep. And you just knew from then you wanted to work with sheep from a young age?
I think I knew that I didn't want to work with dairy once I discovered the sheep. I think the commitment to dairy at the time was not as attractive as working with the sheep.
What do you mean by that? The fact that it's how tying it was and milking twice a day?
And I was at college in Gloucestershire at Harbury College, and I was having to come back early in the mornings to milk cows after parties at college on the Friday and Saturday nights. So I felt that coming in at sort of 6:30, 7 was better than coming at 4:30. So.
That would be right. I can see how that would kill the motivation for a young fella. So but I obviously gave you the bug for agriculture, the farming side of it, as you've said. You went, what degree did you do at college, or what course?
So I did a diploma at Hartbury, and then I went to a small college in Northumberland called Kirkley Hall, where I did a ANCA in sheep management.
Okay.
Yeah, and then...
And you from Devon originally? Or where
Gloucestershire, southwest, yeah.
Gloucestershire, where is that near?
So Cheltenham, that's sort of,
Okay.
you know, where they do the horse racing, sort of.
But you can't be too far from Devon, is it? Like, is
I
Gloucestershire
mean,
quite far?
still a couple of 3 hours southwest to Devon, down to see my uncle, yeah.
Right, okay.
But as a kiddie, I would spend a lot of time down there.
Holidays and stuff
Holidays, yeah, I would be there for the 6 weeks as a kid.
Yeah, okay. Mad into it. And you've also went through what was your first job? Just back on the farm with him?
So when I left college, I went to work for my wife's father in Kent.
Okay.
Where I met my wife.
Obviously, she wasn't your wife then.
She wasn't my wife then.
Yeah.
They were running about 3,000 Romneys and a couple of thousand acres of arable.
Right.
And I was sort of emerged into a scalable sized flock down there, and left and took the daughter with me. Yeah.
Okay. Was there a good dowry involved, or what was the scenario?
A good what, sorry?
Dowry?
No.
Okay.
No.
Have you got a chance at this big farm that's back at home? Or?
So what's happened there is that the brothers had split up,
Okay.
gone their own separate ways. My father-in-law still farms maybe 600 or 700 acres.
Yep.
But it's all cropping, and it's flat.
Yeah.
Very flat. It's down on the Romney marshes, and it's not, for me, it's not that attractive an environment. I like the hills and I like the uplands.
Yeah. And it's but I'm just thinking obviously the fact that, but is there an inheritance to come there at some point, I take it?
So my brother-in-law is taking on that side of the farm.
Okay.
From my father-in-law.
Right, okay, so he's going to farm it.
Yeah, and he's farming it.
Right, okay, fair enough. Because I'm just thinking, like 700 acres down Gloucestershire, that could be like 10 million.
That's down in Kent.
That's Kent.
Yeah.
But it's still big money down there, is it not?
Yeah. A large part of it's on a multi-generational tenancy.
Oh, so it's not owned?
It's not all owned, no.
Yeah,
they only own a little bit back in Y, where the home farm used to be.
You've got hope a son or daughter takes it on to keep the thing going. So that's good that it'll keep going.
Yeah.
So you've taken the daughter away, stolen her away. You've worked there for, how long did you work there for?
A couple of years there. Then went to a place called Chatsworth in Derbyshire. Quite a big, another big estate where lots going on. Sort of, when I was there, I think there were about 4,000 ewes, all lambed inside, big mule flock.
Yep.
Great experience. And then from Chatsworth, that's when we went out to NZ.
You moved to New Zealand.
Yeah.
But did you enjoy working with the mules inside?
I learned a lot. I think at that time I was starting to ask myself questions about all of the things, and obviously we're going to lead into that. But I wanted to go to New Zealand because I'd worked with lots of New Zealanders at lambing time, and through shearing and that, and telling me that this promised land where
Yes.
where everything.
I've heard it all. Yeah.
Yeah. So in 2000 we left Chatsworth and went to New Zealand.
Okay. But just to get an answer to the question, like, did you like working with the mules inside? Like, you learnt a lot, fair enough, but you learnt for the good or the worse, what not to do or what to do?
I think I learned where that production system fitted and they were doing a really good job there. And I could see the benefit of highly productive sheep, fed well, producing really good lambs to, terminal sires.
To a premium.
To an absolute premium, yeah. And they were doing the job right. And the same with the cattle. They had sort of a Limousin cattle herd that's not really my cup of tea, but I could totally see why they were doing it. And they had amazing stockmen there that were delivering really good outcomes and doing really well in the mart and getting top prices and stuff. So.
Yeah, and I suppose there's generally that. It's getting the balance of, and I think we heard Michael talk about it recently. We talked about Michael. Matt and I are both friendly with Michael Blanche, who's the Pasture Pod. I think we'll agree. It's certainly my favourite podcast. I'd imagine it's yours also.
Definitely.
Michael's absolutely fantastic. But he did one recently. He was talking about someone that had a business development person or whatever to go over the books and look at where they're going, and they were the top price, the top price prime lambs and top price stock, but they're losing money because they're just ploughing feed into it and costs and staff and straw and bedding and everything that comes with lambing inside intensively.
Yeah.
and the costs. Actually, when you looked at it from the outside looking in, you're like, oh, these guys are the best. But then when you look at the books, it wasn't adding up, which I'm sure is not the case where you were. So you've done this bit of inside mule lambing. You've heard about this promised land of New Zealand, a place I've never been. I've only heard about it.
You've never been there?
Never been to New Zealand.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, Lizzie's been like 6-7 times.
Okay.
For shearing, but I have never been. It's let's just take note by the fact that Matt's farming here now, so I mean it can't be that much of a promised land. But what was it like?
So I spent 14 years in New Zealand.
Yep.
And flitted backwards and forwards at the start. So sort of went and did the OE thing, go and experience it. Was there for 7 months.
Was OE, overseas experience?
Overseas experience.
Yeah.
And just wanted to come back to England for lambing.
Yep.
I couldn't wait to come back, which was really weird when I think back to it. I came back and did a lambing, and then we got held up with foot and mouth and all that sort of stuff. And then that's when we went back the second time and just immersed ourselves into a high country station in the Mackenzie Basin, quite remote, up a 50-kilometre gravel road at the end of it, properly in the sticks. Managing stock manager there, looking after merino sheep and Hereford cattle.
Yep.
And whilst I was there, that's when I did my holistic management course. So that was in 2002, I think, 2001, 2002. And nobody was really doing it. Nobody was really thinking about farming with nature and thinking about ecosystems and thinking about water cycles and that. It's sort of the in thing at the moment to do, and it's sort of, the buzzwords are in and around that. But back then, it definitely wasn't the thing to do. And I felt a bit of peer pressure from friends and even the industry actually saying, nah, you're barking up the wrong tree. There's easier ways to make money out of farming than doing that sort of stuff. So that sort of influenced my thinking while I was there. And then I sort of progressed from stock manager to end up managing a reasonable sized property for overseas owners who weren't particularly driven by environmental outcomes at the time. Their driver was, I've just bought this sheep station. We need to make some money.
Yep.
I'm happy to invest if you can show a return. And that sort of led me down my career of managing from that place onwards. Yeah,
and did you find it difficult going in? I was going to say not knowing about merino sheep, but I suppose merino sheep are probably easier because,
very hands off.
Well, yeah, and the worse you treat them, the better the wool is.
Pretty much, yeah. And we were talking about steep stuff. We ran up to 2,000 meters from sort of 400 meters. Big mountain areas. Some blocks were sort of 5,000-6,000 acres. You might see the sheep in there when you put them out in the spring, and then you bring them back in the autumn. A big flock of merino wethers.
No sore feet. They'd have great feet up in the hills.
Yeah. Although the downside of merinos at that time in the early 2000s was there was a bit of a foot problem.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, they were a bit susceptible to it because, and I'm probably way off the mark. I'm not an expert in merinos, but the finer the kind of the sheep, it seemed to throw up a few more of these problems. The sheep were getting smaller and more.
You mean the finer the wool quality?
Finer the wool, yeah.
But that's so true with so many things. Like if you breed for just one trait, we've saw it with the dairy industry.
Sure.
For years they just chased yields.
Yeah.
And then bad feet. Longevity been the problem as well. Cattle's just not been able to handle it. So now they're going back to a more sturdy, solid beast that still has a good yield.
Sure.
But she's an all rounder. Because and probably similar in merino. They chase one thing. Something else has to give. And their pink nose and the white
pinky
hooves.
white feet.
So.
And there was a massive chase on Micron, and these people trying to produce this $1 million bale of wool.
Because I'm right in saying because there has been $1 million bale.
I think so. Yeah.
And that is from picking the shoulder wool. There's a patch at the shoulder of the sheep. And what I believe, don't quote me on this is just a story some shearer or some New Zealand person told me at some point. And what they do is the Rouseys, wool classing is the highest paid job in the shed, I think, when especially working with merino wool, because the wool classer decides what grade that wool is and essentially what it'll go on to sell for. But they would take the shoulder block out of each fleece and it goes in a separate pile.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, that is the the finest bit of wool.
Yeah, well, there's certain parts of the fleece that would be, like they take all these fribs out. They obviously take the bellies out, you can't have any second cuts. You've got bits that have got heavier vegetable matter in them. They need to come out. And they're classing for yellow. They're classing for brightness. They're classing for different microns and tenderness. And you might be in a wool shed with 15 or 20 different lines of wool. All coming off the sheep.
Yeah, and they're all set like bays.
Yeah, in
and
bays,
just all those wee bits are going different.
Yeah.
I mean, it is night and day compared to what we do here.
Yeah.
But then the price is night and day. Merino wool, I honestly have no idea what it is now, but I think, it wasn't that long ago. I think it was like 25, 30 quid a fleece.
Like for the top end stuff.
Like UK pounds.
Yeah.
Which is a massive, here it's 90 pence.
I've got a mate who runs a big merino place over there, and he signed into a 10-year icebreaker contract to supply wool for 10 years with a fixed price, with with a CPI built in, and I just think that's very unusual in farming, to be able to lock something in to sell on a 10-year contract, and it's because he produces really good wool, consistent wool, and they turn it into
they want to make sure they're getting it, and the market's there. Well, wool's declining. Like, the quantity of wool is declining. There's a lot of people moving away from merinos to crossbred sheep, and for various reasons. Price would be the big reason, and viability, and also the price of fat lambs. Prime lamb prices are so good that a lot of people are, like the UK is. We're all about prime lambs. Some breeding stock as well, but the crux of that is all prime lambs. That is the core of everything.
Sure.
And I don't think there's anybody. I think they've tried merinos here, but they just are too wet, or whatever the issue is. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, I think there's a few people playing about, but not at scale.
No, but there is some doing the Romneys.
Lots of people doing Romneys.
Did you work with the Romneys in New Zealand?
Yeah, so when I moved from that place, I moved into more of a half-bred, a Romney Merino cross.
Okay.
So we were getting, a better carcass lamb, obviously, than a Merino.
And just to clarify for people, because I believe this is correct as well, that Border Leicester is quite a big popular sire over there.
Yeah,
for a maternal sire.
Yeah.
So you're saying a half-bred Romney. So you're talking about a Romney to a Border Leicester?
No, Romney to a Merino. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. When you're saying half-bred, I'm thinking
there's
Border
different
Leicester.
types of
But Border Leicester is a popular sire.
Yeah.
Or it was.
It was. I don't think it's as much now. But
So a half-bred New Zealand would be a Romney Merino.
The ones we were running, and they.
But isn't it funny here? Like, tell me if I'm wrong here. Maybe some people listen, I'm wrong. Like, if I hear half-bred here, I think it's got Border Leicester in it.
Yes.
But everything else you call it crossbred.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Maybe that's just me that's not got that right.
Yeah,
generally, if something's called a half-bred here, then there's a bit of border in it. But if it's crossbred, well, it could be anything.
Yes.
So why call it half-bred, not crossbred?
Yeah, good point. I don't know. Wait, maybe.
Well, but traditional.
Maybe I was there for 7 years and they were all laughing at me. The Englishmen got the wrong name.
No, but it'll just be traditional. It'll just always have called it that. That's what it is. But I always wonder, like, when I hear half-bred, I think Border Leicester.
Yes. Yeah.
But
I do in this country, definitely.
Yeah. But sorry, you're saying so Merino Romney cross.
Merino Romney cross
for what, Goodwill and prime lambs?
Yes. Yeah, and
does that work?
It was at the time. I don't know if those guys are still getting it quite some good with the wool now, but we were getting wool into we were selling into a smart wool contract, I think they were making socks.
Right.
And getting reasonable money for the wool, good clipping weight, so sort of 4.5, 5 kilos of wool off the sheep, and at the time sort of between $6 and $8 a kilo, and then still getting a half decent scanning and decent lamb out of them.
Yeah. So when it always,
and we put them back to a Texel as well. For the second turn.
So once they were crossed, your Romney, your half-bred sheep,
yes,
you put it back to a Texel.
Yeah, we'd keep some pure. So we'd actually buy a half-bred ram and run half-bred ewes. We weren't.
So the pure half-breds.
Yeah, we weren't actually breeding the half-bred by.
Oh, so you weren't keeping Romneys and Merinos?
No.
I was thinking you kept a flock of Romney ewes, Merino tups.
No.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And what I take it that was the cross, the Merino tup to the Romney ewe, not the other way around.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And you would just buy them in, and folk would just sell half-bred rams.
Yeah, I can't even think where we used to buy them, but they were quite a functional sheep in that environment.
Yeah.
And
what kind of numbers were you running there?
Not huge numbers, only sort of 1,200, 1,500 ewes there.
Okay.
We had a big cow herd there, But when I went there was no sheep. We introduced sheep back in.
So how many cattle was there?
We were running 450 cows.
What breeds?
They're all Angus. All
Okay.
Angus. Yeah, all straight Angus.
Is New Zealand quite a lot of Angus and Hereford? Is that quite the...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And some, you know, and 400 or 500 Angus cows is not big for New Zealand. There's a lot of big suckler herds.
And are these outside all the time?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And cows on tussock country, not for the winter, not fed. You know, a lot of those cows just roam the hills in blocks, get rotated through the blocks.
Just big fence blocks?
Big fence blocks.
You just rotate them round?
Yeah. And we'd have sort of cold block, you know, sunny faces and cold faces, and you'd make sure they were sort of round into that warm country come the thick of winter.
So they've got the sun on them at least. But the hills there, I always think the hills there are a bit greener than they are here.
We were up next to the Southern Divide, in the Southern Alps. So we were right up the head of the Rangitata Valley.
So you're very high.
Yeah, quite high. Big tussock, lot of pressure from Matagari, which is a weed they have there.
Okay.
And it's quite tough country. It does have green sort of understory through the spring, but certainly they're eating rank feed in the winter.
All winter.
In the winter.
And they do fine without any bales or
yeah. They've bred
no
some,
cobs or nothing.
nothing. No.
Yeah, okay.
No.
And they're just bred that way. They're more the sort of traditional kind of Angus, you know, big rumens, like big belly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and quite a small functional cow. You know, we would probably average 600 kilos. You know,
For your finished
for a cow.
For the cows, sorry, right, okay.
Yeah, 600, 650 kilos.
Yeah.
It's still mating yearling heifers. But
so mating yearling heifers is what, putting them to the bull at a year old?
At a year old, yeah.
To get a calf at 21 months?
Yep.
Or thereabouts?
Yep.
Which is what the shorthorn heifers I've got have been, that's what John's done with them.
Oh, okay, yep.
So he's got that, I think he said it is like a New Zealand idea. Do they call it an R2?
So calf is an R2, yeah.
R2 is a rising 2-year-old, is that right?
2-year-old, yeah.
What is rising 2? It means it's still growing?
It just means it's coming into its, 2-year-old. So it's funny as to when because that R2 sort of hangs around on their, once they've gone past their 2-year-old. So you'd always have your R1s, your R2s and your R3s, and then you'd have your mixed age cows.
Why are they not just 1s, 2s and 3s?
I don't know. Because you start calling them R1s before they're 1, because they're rising.
Okay.
Yeah. So that first winter, they're sort of R1s.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, and then
it's just different terminology. There's lots of different terminology for
it is. Yeah. Because I was thinking R2, rising 2-year-olds. I'm like, well, they're always growing when they're coming to 2, so it doesn't matter if they're a rising 2-year-old or a 2-year-old. They're still growing.
Okay. Yeah.
But right, it's just a New Zealand term.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
I can't remember if it was John or who it was said that R2s and that this calving at 21 months. Because I think a lot of people here don't frown upon it, but maybe don't agree with it because they don't think it lets them grow out to their proper mature size. What do you think on it?
I think that you've got to look after after you had her first calf. Otherwise, I think you are right. If you carve her down as a 2-year-old and throw her straight in with the herd, and she sort of just struggles a bit, then you end up with a smaller cow that doesn't carry on growing. You've got to give them a bit of preferential treatment that second winter as well. And
also through till she's 3, because
so all our 2-year-olds and our yearlings are running together with the bull now,
right?
And then the rest of the cows are in one mob.
But your 2-year-olds have calved.
2-year-olds have cut calves at foot, and they'll winter separately this coming winter. So they'll wean their first calf.
When do they wean them? This is April born calves, is it?
May, we start beginning of May.
When do you wean them?
So they'll get weaned in December.
Okay, so they're getting weaned at 7 months.
7 months, yeah.
Is that pretty standard for weaning?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe the April-born guys are probably still weaning in December, so they might be 8 months.
Yeah, okay.
But we get that calf off. We've left a few calves on mum actually for the whole winter just to see how that works.
And how does that
quite
work?
An interesting theory. So there's less of a stress factor involved.
Because the calf's now bigger.
Well,
when you come to wean it, it's now an adult almost. Yeah.
And what's really interesting is when you've got a cow on a hill with a calf, and the cow sat into the prevailing wind,
Yeah.
and the calf sat on the lee side,
Yeah.
you know, it's not getting that when it's in its own cohort,
It's the calf is getting nurtured more throughout the winter.
and it's sat next to a radiator because its mum's rumen
Sure,
is very, very, very warm,
Yep.
and it's still getting a little bit of milk, still getting a little bit of protein from mum.
Yeah.
And you have to feed the cow probably a little bit better as a cow-calf unit. You have to feed it probably a higher diet.
A better protein
Better
silage.
protein.
Are yours getting any rolls up in the hill? It's worth saying that these cows we're talking about are all wintered outside.
Everything's wintered outside.
There's no calves coming in the shed. There's nothing. So that's why when you're saying that scenario there, obviously in a shed it wouldn't make any sense really.
No.
But but you didn't like it. What was it?
Well, it's not we didn't like it. We just
It's not practical.
we're just still trying to get our heads around it.
Okay.
Because once we take that calf off mum, we can actually really cheapen its winter cost up. So we can put her out on the hill behind an electric fence and give her a break of grass every day, and that's really, really cheap. And we felt that when it's got the calf at foot, she needed just a bit more. There's no point doing it if you end up with a leaner cow and a scruffy calf. That wasn't.
Yeah, if they both suffer and
Yeah.
then the calf inside her suffers.
Yeah, exactly.
And then she's not fit.
Exactly.
Come rearing that calf.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you didn't find that, or you did?
We did it on a smaller cohort, and they were slightly preferentially fed on a different farm. The jury's still out. We haven't. Yeah, the jury's definitely still out. I know a lot of people that are doing it really successfully.
Okay.
But you know, it's trying to make sure that what I'm trying to do fits our system, not because somebody up the road can do it in their environment. So we just try these things all the time. You know,
Yeah, but it's good to be open to new ideas. That's one thing I like speaking with yourself is like, you know, there's a lot of people. There'll be a lot of people perhaps that do progressive, nature-friendly farming type stuff, like yourself, that are very set that this is the way to do it, and that you're wrong and I'm right. There's certainly people I've met, but whereas always like you're quite open to, you know, and like you say about the mule job, like they'll be making good money, doing a great job.
100%. 100%.
But there is other ways, and it's what works for you.
Yeah.
And as I've said loads of times in farming, it's what makes you happy as well.
Yes.
We're quite fortunate in this country. You can farm the way you want.
Yeah.
And probably do all right.
Yeah.
You know, whether that's arable, all right, arable's a tougher year this year, but beef, sheep, look at all the different breeds we have. The reason for that is because we don't need to find out what the best breed is.
Yeah.
We just what we like.
Yes. Yeah.
And you obviously, what type of cattle, did we say that? No, we didn't say what type of cattle you're actually running.
So
Here now at Neidpath.
Yeah, they're all Angus. We started with
trying to keep those traditional types.
Yeah, we started with a Solaire herd. So there were 60 Solaire cows when I came.
Okay.
65 maybe. And we've put 240 to the bull this year.
Buying them or breeding them?
We've bought some and bred some.
So Solaire to Angus.
Angus over the Solaire, and then bought Angus heifers in,
right,
and put Angus back to them.
So you've Angused everything till it's almost pure Angus.
Yeah, we've still got a few floater pure Solaires in the herd.
Yep.
I think there's 16 left.
Yep.
And they'll go over the next 2 years. We've used a bit of native Angus, half native Angus with a guy, a friend of mine, Rob Havard from down south.
Yep.
We've done an embryo program with swearing Angus, which is sort of traditional grass-fed Angus out of the States. And we've got some calves on the ground from Aaron Nurbas, who came over a couple of years ago from Canada, Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
So we've got some of his embryo calves on the ground as well.
So you got embryos over from America and planted them in just in Angus cows?
Yep.
Okay, and they've held all right and it's worked?
Yep. That's been a big learning curve too, because it's sort of
expensive.
Reasonably expensive, but
how much to get an embryo over? And
so Rob, who I do all the work with, he covers all that side of things. I put them in my cows, and then he gets all the bulls, but I get used to the bulls, and I get all the heifers.
Right. Okay. So you're working as like a
sort of a breeding partner.
Partner. Yes. Yeah, so, okay. So you're not laying out for the embryos. You just facilitate it.
Yeah.
And you've got this deal that sounds like a good deal.
Yeah. And we've got some of the we've got 3 of the American bulls running with heifers this year, so it'll be really interesting to see what their offspring are like.
Yeah, it's exciting
next year. So,
do you follow the stuff that Jim Logan does with his Angus?
Yeah, Jim Logan, top guy.
So you get good Angus.
Yeah. Look, there's so many people doing.
Mate, you can tell us. You'll not hear this. Just are they all right?
No, Jim's doing a
look
really
quite
good job.
good.
Yeah. He's very good
Herefords as
fun.
well. But why the Angus, not the Hereford?
Good question. I haven't got anything against the Hereford. I just quite like the Angus. We had to pick one because I quite like the uniformity.
Would it be between those two?
Yeah, definitely. I used both in when I was in New Zealand. We were crossing them in and out all the time. But I quite have a soft spot for Angus.
What's the Herefords here like compared to New Zealand? Much bigger, or?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, although I think there are some guys breeding more sort of smaller functional kind of Herefords, but I mean there's some monster Herefords as well.
Yeah, I mean I think that's one thing. I think many people say that Shorthorns, like, they're huge. Like, I mean, they can't always have been that size if they're an outdoor hardy cow.
Sure.
They're mass. I mean, they are hardy. I'm sure they are, and they fatten like no bother. But big cows like those ones I've got, I'm like, geez, like they're big when you're up close to them.
Yeah.
Whereas like some of your more traditional Angus, is there still like a black cow premium as well?
Yep.
So
we get I think it's about 15 pence at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, that's not actual set in stone. That's just what happens with the buyers, or is that actual you do get that premium?
We get that premium flow back from the food chain. Like
is that right?
Yeah.
Because they want black cattle.
Well, because they want the Angus.
Yes, it's black cattle. Yeah, it's Angus is a premium. Yeah, okay. Just because the meat's better.
Well, I think one might argue it's no better, but it's a recognised brand, isn't it? Like
but one might also argue that it is better.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, obviously,
Would you argue?
I would argue it's better, but
see, I like but do you know what I like? You're always very conscious of offending people, but nobody's going to be offended by the man that loves Angus cattle saying Angus beef is best.
Well, I think it's best, but I haven't tried all the other meats on the market, and I think what makes a big difference is what the production system that animal comes out of, as much as the breed.
That is how it's been reared. Is absolutely a factor. Yeah.
And if we think about how some of our beef is reared around the
world,
have
you tried Dexter beef?
Not Dexter, no.
Well, a podcast previous to this, by the time this one's out, with Darville Dexter, all marbled and like Wagyu, grass reared, beautiful, like tremendous. And that's Mary at Darville Dexter. That's her. That's how she fell in love with it actually, and how she started her own butchery, because the Dexter meat was so good, but it's not commercially viable because there's no money in producing them because nobody will buy them. But she does her own, and it does well. So, and many people haven't tried Dexter because it's just so rare. It's just such an unusual thing.
Sure.
But it's all right. You're with Angus. You love Angus. What was wrong with Cellairs?
What was wrong with the Cellairs? Quite a big cow.
The Cellair is an outdoor hill cow, though, isn't she? She's yeah.
And the previous manager did outwinter the cows. I mean, the calves were in the shed here, but he did outwinter the cows. There was a little bit of a temperament issue.
That's the most common thing I hear about Cellairs.
And I'm not. At the start, because I'd never worked with Cellairs, I thought all Cellairs were like that. I've since discovered actually there's plenty of Cellairs around that have got really good temperaments.
Yeah.
We had a bit of trouble with feet, a bit of trouble with teats. So they just got culled out.
Being too milky, or
just problems with mastitis and big teats and so not necessarily a reflection of the Cellair, but just a reflection of those type of cows. And it worked for the last manager. It didn't fit our system. I mean, we've got electric fences up, cows getting moved every day. We don't want cows bobbing through wires and stuff.
Yeah, but your Cellair would be up against it from the start because you're an Angus man.
Yeah, probably subconsciously.
Yeah. It's like you come there thinking, I know this cow's not as good as an Angus.
Yeah.
So you look for all the faults.
Yeah, of course.
I dare say the faults are there, but you are going to look for the faults. And I think one thing we can't argue is with the Angus and Hereford, there's a reason they're like out with Africa, I believe, they're the most popular breed of cattle in the world.
Yeah.
There's a reason for it.
Yeah.
You know,
definitely.
These guys don't just run it because they like the look of them.
Sure.
They're running them America where they're huge, your black baldies back and forth. There's a reason for it.
Yeah,
you know, and it's not just because of bias. It's because they're functional and they do what they need them to do.
100%.
I would say. But speaking about temperate nature there, so we don't want to jump right over the rest of your New Zealand adventures, but Kaz said a great thing about, was it Kaz? Yeah, I think he was saying he worked with limousine. You know, we're talking about temperament, I think, about cattle at one point, maybe on the way to Beef Tech. and he was saying like the quietest cattle he worked with in New Zealand was like limousines.
Yeah, okay.
Because all they'd done was, because they are that kind of those big outdoor systems or whatever where they're working with good numbers, everything that was wild or a bad temperament, get rid of it. Don't breed with it. Don't breed with it. Don't breed with it. And now you just had these docile, quiet cattle.
Yes.
Whereas over here, some people like to tar, limmies with a brush of being a bit spirited.
Sure.
And I just thought it was interesting. It's not the breed as such. It's how you're breeding them, where they've been bred from. You can make cattle.
And Crystalyx used to be a multi-purpose cow, didn't they? So when they were getting milked in France, they were getting tied up in byres.
So they must be docile.
Yeah. At some point.
Plus you have the calf to lift off them, and if she's a man killer, she's not handy to be calving every year to get milk off her,
Exactly.
Straight to the food chain. So yeah, no, that's all. I think we've caveated that all enough. So just continuing before we've jumped back to this system, but continuing New Zealand adventure, you're working there with the 450 Angus cattle in the hills, few sheep. What was the next step?
So I touched on the fact that I'd done this holistic management.
Yep.
So that's, sort of mob grazing thing. And I'm in quite a brittle environment, so quite a dry environment. And I was in a managing position, so I was calling the shots, and it allowed me to start playing around with a bit more mob stocking, starting to think about ecosystems and all that sort of thing. And when I went there, because I was working for a foreign investor, it was under the Overseas Investment Office. Okay. Now I had to write reports to the Overseas Investment Office to convince them why it was a good thing for a foreigner to buy the farm as opposed to a local Kiwi. And what they want to see is investment, money back to the local economy, increased employment, all of those positive things that a foreigner might bring that a Kiwi wouldn't bring. So at that time, I was having to spend a lot of money to lift production to show that it was a wise choice for them to let this Russian own the station.
Oh, so you're working for a Russian guy, were you?
I probably shouldn't have dropped that in because
I noticed you were skirting by this foreign investor. I thought it'd be Chinese, to be fair.
No, it was Russian.
I thought Chinese are big in New Zealand. Have they stopped them now, right enough, haven't they?
I think they've slowed them down. Yeah, they were buying a lot of dairy farms. The Chinese definitely.
But they've banned them sending the genetics to China now, haven't they? That was because China's now producing all these
exactly
high quality cattle.
So they were doing that with Angus heifers as well. Angus heifers were leaving in boatloads into China when I was there. Yeah,
there you go for those genetics. Yeah. So this you're
I'm having to write this report to say that I'm increasing production. I'm employing more men. I'm running more stock, and I was working with a fertilizer company, and I was buying quite a lot of fertilizer, and this Icebreaker brand, this Merino brand, this fertilizer company were giving out Icebreaker clothing with their brand on. I won't name the brand.
You can name the brand if you want.
Ravensdown.
Right.
Ravensdown.
Is that the brand of jacket or brand of fertilizer?
That's a big fertilizer company.
Right. Ravensdown.
Ravensdown, yeah.
Right.
So they sort of Balance and Ravensdown, two big fert companies.
Yep.
And I was spending...
Is Icebreaker the brand of clothes?
Yeah, Icebreaker,
right.
yeah. So I went to a local rugby match and I was proudly wearing my Ravensdown gear. And I was talking to a couple of Kiwis and somebody said, oh, you've got the old Icebreaker stuff on there and Ravensdown stuff on there. And I said, yeah. It's, I got it free from the Ravensdown guy. And he said, I was going to swear there. He said, bloody hell, Pom. Like, you're not that stupid. You didn't get that for free, did you? And I said, yeah, I did. And he said, no, you have to be spending 50K plus with fertilizer to get all that outfit.
Yeah.
And at that point, I felt a bit stupid.
Yeah.
And I went home and I remember going home and just thinking, do you know what? What is this all about? It was a real kind of pivotal point in my career. And I'm going, the guy turns up in a flash vehicle, gives me all this flash clothes. He's really nice to my wife. He always talks to the kids. And I'm signing this check for $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year.
Yeah.
And it took me right back to my holistic management sort of 10 years prior and made me really start to think about what it was all about. Yeah. And, question whether I needed fertilizer or was that guy convinced me to use fertilizer?
Yeah.
So, that I've maybe gone off on a side string there, but
no, but
that was a really
pivotal
moment of my career.
Did you ever wear the jacket again?
I can't remember what happened to it. I probably did
it.
Tossed it out.
Yeah.
But I stopped using fertilizer from that point.
Is that right? Just for that chap saying that to you?
I was feeling a bit insecure, feeling a bit sort of used, just going. And what was happening was I kept seeing things go wrong as I was trying to push this farm. I was putting winter feed crops in and trying to grow them in an environment by using fertilizer and spraying it and using the new seed, and then having these failures and going, God, I'm really shit at this job. I'm not very good. And then inviting those guys back in, the seed guy going, well, it was a dry spring, and the fert guy going, well, it'll go better this year. Well, what are we going to do this year? Well, we'll do the same, but I'm sure it'll rain in September this year, or I'm sure it'll. And I just,
it's gambling. It's just money down the drain.
I just couldn't get it I couldn't process it. I was starting to think that actually maybe there's an easier way here. And when you're in a really brittle environment, which it was, low rainfall, the contrast over the fence at that time between, I was going and visiting and seeing different people sort of farming differently, and seeing the starkness over the fence of the people that were sort of doing this sort of more nature-based farming against these guys that were perhaps more conventionally farmed in terms of ground cover and water cycles and all that sort of stuff was really playing with my head at that time. I was in my early 30s, I've got a young family. I'm just going, what is this all about? And I had 2 or 3 years of just feeling quite lonely and quite isolated in New Zealand, away from all my family, stuck up a gully. We were at that point, my wife was doing 110 kilometres a day on a gravel road to meet the school bus. We were quite isolated. And got pressure from the owner going, we need to grow more grass, we need to put more stock on, we need to employ more people, we need to pump.
Were you speaking direct to the owner?
Yeah. The owner lived, would come and stay on the farm for sort of 2 or 3 weeks at a time, a couple of times a year, and quiz me as to what we were trying to do and trying to achieve. So
and what is Vlad like in person? So that was good that he was proper hands on it then. I suppose in some reflect, but I see what you're saying. This thing's totally changed your belief system, and it's just it's knocked your head completely. It's just knocked you like, what am I doing here? This isn't what I want to do. But you've got a guy, the owner, putting pressure on you to keep doing it the same way.
Keep doing it. And the industry at the time, and even really, really good mates that were very good farmers, profitable big businesses, big sheep and beef stations, making good money, going, bloody hell, Pom, will you just shut up about the, holistic stuff? It's not going to work. It doesn't work. You can't, just pour the fert on and make it grow.
I think we spoke about this. Do you know what POM stands for?
Naively, no, tell me.
It's something like Prisoner of Margate or something like that, which was the prison that they first sent people from to go to Australia.
Okay.
It's not Margate, it's something like that.
Okay.
Whatever the name of the place was, Margrave or whatever. That's what POM stands for. Because I had to Google it. We talked about it in a podcast before. Because I thought it was Prisoner of Her Majesty.
Yeah, right.
Was what I thought it was, but then I thought that doesn't really work. But something like Prisoner of Margate.
Okay.
So because it was all the, it's a derogatory term, of course.
Yes, it is derogatory
for an English person.
Yeah.
Did you get offended by it?
No.
Quite nice, isn't it?
No. They always call me Pom.
But you don't have to get offended by things. It's just words.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're getting all this shit for your mates in the pub and whatever. So again, knocks your confidence, makes you think you're wrong, doubts yourself, of course, and all these things adding together. When did the big change come? When did you leave that job?
No. I was, so that was about halfway through my tenure there, and then I started changing stuff around, not like really obviously, but just trying things and doing some trials. I was doing a lot of that kind of water infiltration stuff, which was the first thing we did when we came here. So in 2018, we came back to the UK. I worked for John Scott for a bit when I came back from New Zealand, and then I was only up there a short period of time, and I came back to.
What was John like? Hard to work for, or was he all right?
John was all right. I still get on well with John. There was a lot going on there at the time. It was, a massive expansion. He was running sort of 6,000 ewes at the time.
Yeah,
and there
serious.
Was, land holdings all over the place, and we spent more time farming the tarmac than farming the
that's
the
better
actual
than my
sheep.
system.
Yeah,
The road all the time.
and that it wasn't for me, and it was up in, I was going to say stuck in the Highlands. It was up in the Highlands, and we just wanted to be a bit closer to our family in England. So we came down here.
So you went an hour down the road.
We came down to the Northumberland and rented a house for a bit and looked for a few jobs. And I was lucky enough to come and meet the owners here, who were, through a whole of COVID sort of lockdown, had spent a lot of time looking at videos and watching and questioning what was happening with all their in-hand farms.
Yep.
And I think it was good timing.
Shared values.
Yeah, and I remember sitting in the kitchen with Matthew and Lulu and just sort of saying, are you sort of up for this, because there could be a few things go wrong before we get it right. And he said, yeah, I'm up. I like a challenge. So yeah, I came in January 21 into here.
Yep.
And came in, moved in on a Friday afternoon. Saturday morning, jumped in, a Polaris bike side-by-side thing, and went round with the infiltration thing. I don't know if I've shown you that infiltration. So
no, what's that?
It's this thing here. We knock it into the ground.
So we're looking, for anybody listening, we're looking at just like a metal cylinder.
Yeah, a metal cylinder. We drive it into the ground, and we've got a bottle of water, and we need, for the equation, we need 450 ml of water, and that equates an inch of water.
Okay.
So we see how long it takes for an inch of water to infiltrate into the ground. Okay?
Right.
So
you put 450 ml bottle of water.
Yeah.
Into the top.
Tip it in, and that.
And you would you just hold it in your hand?
No, this is in the soil.
No, but you keep it in the soil.
Yeah, keep it in the soil.
Okay.
Drive it into the soil to this line.
Yep.
And then we pour the water in.
Yep.
And then we set the clock going.
Okay.
And it's.
But how do you know when? Oh, once you can't see the water.
Once the last drop of water has left the bottle.
Yep.
Set the clock going.
And then once you can't see it, you stop the clock.
Stop the clock.
Okay.
So we're going around the farm, and we had to go and find another couple of these because
it was taking so long.
It was taking so bloody long. And an hour. Some places were 2 hours.
But 2 hours for 450 ml of water to seep away.
So it's not 400. It's because of the diameter. That's the equivalent of 1 inch of water. Yeah. So it's just the equivalent of getting an inch.
Yeah, the 450 doesn't matter. Yeah. It's an inch of rain.
A bigger diameter, you'd need more water.
Yeah.
So young Noah, that had breakfast with us this morning.
Yeah.
He was about 6 at the time, and he said, "Dad, can I go home? This is so boring. Like this is the most boring thing I've ever seen." And I was getting a bit depressed, going, "God, what's this telling me about the land?" And one might think, well, that's just Peebles. It's the way it is, like it's the soil type or whatever. But we went to a field that a flood had taken a fence out maybe 3 or 4 years ago with the previous manager.
Yep.
Busy guy, hadn't quite got round to fencing it yet. Went and did it in there, and it was gone in 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Okay. And this is a bit that hadn't been overgrazed, or what was the difference?
Just the fact that it had been rested.
Yeah.
Okay. And we did it in the hedge. We found a hedge where it was gone in under 1 minute.
Yeah.
So it wasn't Peebles shear, it wasn't the land type, it was just the fact you've got a different management thing going on here, and you've got a different management going on here. And that, you guys won't be able to see it, but that big photo up on the wall there, that soil on the right is continuously grazed.
Yep.
And the soil, the sod in the hand on the left is after 160 days of rest.
Yeah.
So actually,
much looser, less compact.
Exactly, massive
root system, is it, as well?
Difference, massive difference. And I think actually, the more me and Matthew talk about what are we trying to achieve, or what are we doing here, it's about resilience. Everybody uses that word.
Yep.
But actually, it's just about the water. So carbon, methane's really, really complicated to understand. There's so many arguments of whether it's good or bad, or how it works, and whether it's better, trees are better than grass, and all that sort of carry on. But actually, when you think about water, we're really dry at the moment. We want to hold as much water in the landscape.
Yep.
So if we can have soils like that, we can hold on to water.
Yeah, because the water goes into it, rather than if it's taken an hour to thing, mate, it'll just run off.
That's it, running off.
Just runs.
And when
you're all running down into the bun here, aren't you, into the river?
We've got the real iconic River Tweed below us.
The Tweed.
I don't want to fill it with topsoil. I don't want to fill it with nutrients.
Yeah.
We just spent a fortune buying fertilizer in. I mean, I don't use fertilizer. If you've just covered your fields in fertilizer and you've got soils where it takes an hour and a half, some of that fertilizer is going that way, you know?
Yeah.
And this, interesting fact, that thickness of paper.
It's just a sheet of paper. It's a normal sheet of paper. It's not any special thick bit of paper. Yeah.
It's for the visual, Cammy.
Yeah.
That in soil erosion across a hectare is 5 ton of topsoil.
Okay. Yeah.
So when we think about
if you lose nothing. Yeah.
soil,
Yeah.
so if you farm for 60 years, 60 sheets of paper,
Yeah.
you know, if your water can't go in, so we are really conscious about water in the land, hydrology of the landscape, and how we hold water back, how we make it so that it's not really dry in the summer and really wet and puggy and that in the winter. You know,
Yes, because it also helps the winter because it soaks away.
And
does it work? I know these grazing things. I've been to some of these with Peter
Peter
Beck, sorry,
Yep.
Peter Beck and this Carbon Cowboys and stuff like that.
we went up there, didn't we?
That's right.
Yeah.
Find it really interesting. I think a lot of the science is there. I mean, it makes sense, absolutely. But most of the things I see is it works for cows. Because like resting that for 160 days, then putting sheep in, is that not a waste of time?
So that we definitely toy with that all the time. So we've got X amount of sheep that are set stocked across a lot of land for set stock and lambing time.
Yeah.
And they're doing this compaction damage.
Yeah.
But it's whether we go, okay, well, when we do something with sheep that we maybe not think is the best, maybe then we rest it and then bring the cows in to try and, you know, get us back to that state.
But is that not never in the cycle of compacting land to suit the sheep?
Well, our aim with our sheep is to try and find the animals actually in our system that thrive on the tall grass. Mainly because most people tell me you can't do it. So that's actually a good driver to try and see if we can find sheep that can thrive in really tall grass, still deliver good, you know, financial outcomes and deliver that kind of soil.
But can they do it?
There's places in the world where people are doing it with sheep.
With sheep that are more like goats?
Probably, yeah.
Aye, so like African nations and things,
Well,
warmer climates.
There's a big place there's a guy in Texas doing it. You know,
Basically Africa.
Basically, probably similar dry environment.
But yeah, with sheep, but with like dorpers or
dorpery type sheep.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. I just think like we bred these sheep. The sheep are the way they are. I'm guessing they probably came from goats at some point in the evolution chain, and we've made them what they are. But I always see the big flaw with the nature-friendly farming, this idea of resting ground and doing it. You know, eat a third, trample a third. What's the other third? Waste a third.
Waste a third.
Waste a third.
Not waste. No waste in nature.
No waste, but you know what I mean. What is it? Eat a third. Leave a third.
Leave
eat a third. Trample a third. Leave a third. That's what it is.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Works with cows.
Yeah.
Doesn't work with sheep. As far
I
as
think
I
it doesn't work with sheep when you're trying. So we've had lambs up at Line Farm, so one of the farms we look after up the road. Derek had ewes and lambs on a short rotation, and he went on holiday. It tends to happen when they go on holiday.
Yeah.
I bunged a heap more sheep in. I bunged some cattle in, and I turned them into some really long grass.
Yep.
And into a field that wasn't particularly good. And the lambs were growing at over 300 grams. And I put them into this system while Derek was away for 10 days. And we weighed him when he came back, and they were doing 107 grams.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so totally agree that it doesn't work for sheep in terms of if you measure the production. But the trampling with sheep is phenomenal.
Yeah,
it's just like you've gone in and rolled the whole field.
Yeah,
we had a summer tour here in the autumn of that same year, and Derek was with us, and we were in this field, and the field looked amazing. Bounce back was just phenomenal. And I said to Derek, tell everybody what happened here. Well, Matt goes on holiday, And I said, what was the field like before we did this trample? And he said it was a bit peely-wally.
Uh-huh.
I'd never heard.
Peely-wally, aye.
I mean, we laugh about it now. So it was a shit field.
Yeah.
It looked terrible. And I said, what's it look like now? And he said, it looks like it's had nitrogen and it's been resown with ryegrass. So if you look at some of James Rebank's stuff, and he's doing trampling, lots of really tall grass trampling,
yep.
And it's all that pumping all that organic matter back into the soil.
Yep.
If we're trying to do it when we're trying to grow a lamb, that's where we're challenged at the moment. So we've got a big mob of ewes at the moment. I think there's 1,400 ewes in one mob that are getting shifted round, and it looks horrendous from a lot of mindsets, what they leave behind. But the bounce back with the sheep is very different than the bounce back with the cattle.
But you have such a my thing with that thing. I agree with it. I mean, and we'll all do it. I think all farmers, once the ewes are weaned, there's this great tool that you just shove them in all the rough.
Yep.
You shove them anywhere.
Yep.
Because they'll just survive. Like, you know, they don't need to thrive.
Sure.
They just need to maintain. And a sheep can easily maintain when it doesn't have a lamb to rear or a lamb to grow. And there's still plenty of good green shoots in amongst. So yeah, great. It's great this, but it's such a short window.
Yeah.
So yes, 100% agree with you. They have that great function, but it's for what, 3 months of the year.
Yeah.
And then you need to start thinking about them getting a flush,
Yeah.
or tupping, and then maintaining all. You know, you've got to be careful of that because you need your ewe to have condition to lose a bit over the winter. So if you push too hard with that, you know, but you could. There's an obvious argument as you go as long as you can. It rests the other bits where she's going to get her good grass through the winter. But again, it's such a short window compared to a cow that can do it virtually all year. Well, it can do it all year, I believe, unless I'm wrong. And that's always just wonder no matter. I know you're saying it can be done, but again, I do believe it can. But it's the type of sheep we're never going to use here. I'm not saying never say never, but it's unlikely that we're going to see used here.
Yeah, I think when we think about water and we look at that picture, and when we can convince government, we've had some people in this week talking about this very thing. If farmers are the sort of silent army here with all this sort of climate stuff that's going on, okay? And when we think about flooding, I mean, there's a poster there. It says for every 1% of organic matter you lift, it's 90,000 litres of water per acre that you can hold back in the landscape. Okay, so if we could get farmers to hold 2 or 3% back by changing the way they're grazing in a catchment up a Tweed, 500,000 million acres or something, we'd have to spend 80 million on flood defence in Kelso.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So if we get some of that money back and we can run our sheep in the tall grass and they grow at 200 grams instead of 300 grams, and the government are paying us to deliver that. And somebody still can take the lamb like you down in Ayrshire and finish it.
Yeah.
Like maybe making all the money out of the livestock at the beginning. That is more resilient for me. That's a lot more resilient.
I agree with you. The problem we have is people only care about things they can see with their eyes, in terms of the voter, and probably politicians.
Yeah.
If the public here, the farmers getting millions of pounds to graze in a certain way because it's stopping the valley flooding, they're like, is it? You know, whereas you build them a big brick wall.
Yes. Yeah.
That was money well spent.
Yeah.
I can see the wall.
Yeah.
It's going to stop the water for now.
Yeah, and the front page of the Peebles News is the local councillor cutting the ribbon on the new brick wall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas farmers getting more money from the government to stop rain this time, it's like, come on, that's, you know, that's a nonsense.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're always going to be up against because, like, I mean, I just don't see that ever happening, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I don't know. You were probably right. Maybe I live in this
Just
bit of a
being
dream world.
negative. No,
Maybe,
I mean, I certainly think you live in a dream world, but but I don't think. I just think. Yeah. I think a lot of people who are doing the great stuff you're doing are onto, and I really believe in it with the cattle and the grazing and the organic matter and the topsoil. Absolutely believe in it. I'm a sheep guy and I just don't see it for myself.
And you live in Ayrshire.
And Ayrshire, where it's different again. Like, we are in absolute God's country.
It's a very forgiving grass ground.
Yeah, well, like, the Lord himself looks after us. We can do virtually. You want to grow tatties? Grow tatties. You want to have dairy cows? Have dairy cows. You know, sheep? Have them all. You know, we've got like all these great dairy cows. We've also got the most expensive blackface sheep in the country. You know, we've got a bit of everything. We've got tatties. We've got Ayrshire tatties. We've got everything in Ayrshire. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. We are quite lucky that way. And yeah, there probably isn't that many. Davy Cooper, Davy and Cora are very. But again, they're not in. They're in Ayrshire.
Yep.
But they're right on the border, and it's rough ground.
Yes.
You know, there's plenty of bits like in Ayrshire, but they are on rough hill ground, and doing a great job as well with sheep.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good friends with those guys, and
yeah, they're good.
You know, we're on similar.
But theirs is
similar
slightly
page.
different than the rotational. Well, it does rotational all summer. To be fair, Davey and Cora, they do. But I suppose the big thing is just that the area they have, the size of it.
Yeah, it's a big chunk.
It is great for nature. But yeah, I always come back to with cows. You can do it. With sheep.
If you look at that other picture, 38 mil of rain fell in 24 hours, right? This is on the top of another farm. That soil on the left come out of the hedge, it's wet. The soil on the right is dry.
Yeah.
We're dry at the moment.
Yep.
It's going to rain next week. You know, when that old saying, how much rain did you get? I want to say all of it. Yeah?
Yeah.
July 22, out in the trial field out here, we had a thing that read the soil temperature, the surface temperature. We found soil in long grass against the hedge at 18 degrees.
Yep.
We found bare soil in the open field at 55 degrees. Okay, 18 to 55. That's a massive, massive difference.
Yep.
So one might argue that sheep don't function in that tall grass. But if we've had 3 months of dry and your short grass is all burnt off, then you're either buying feed in, destocking, you know, at a time when everyone else is destocking. And if I can hold the moisture and keep my grass, that's maybe a better option.
That is all. Yeah, absolutely.
And
I agree with that argument.
More
absolutely.
of these. I've been here 5 years. I don't know what a normal winter is. I don't know what a normal spring is. I don't know what a normal. You know, we've had.
The other thing I suppose talking about Ayrshire is, and a lot of farms, not just Ayrshire, they don't have the hills and the dry lie that you have for cows in the winter. Like I certainly couldn't out winter cows.
Yep.
They'd be up to their guts in muck, because although we can grow a lot of grass, it's wet, heavy soils. You'd poach, you'd wreck the whole place if the cows were out. It'd probably be animal welfare. You know, somebody would see it for the side of the road and they'd be phoning in and look at the state of their cattle. Can barely make it to the silage feeder because of the muck. Whereas a dry hill, I absolutely, like if I had a dry hill and a bit like you've got, 100% I'd about went on cattle, because to me it's just a no-brainer. Like you buy the right type of cattle for it, it must be so cheap. I mean, do you know how much it costs you to winter an Angus cow?
Yeah, not as cheap as some, but we get our cows through for about 65 quid through the winter.
For 6 months, roughly 6-7 months.
6 months.
Yeah, 65 quid for a beast that's worth $2,000.
It's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, and she's just near a calf that's worth a fortune. Like it is incredible, and that's what once a day roll a bale out.
Yeah, the first 2 months of the winter they get just strips of grass.
Okay.
And then sort of once we get into February, usually end of January, February, start rolling bales up.
Right.
The bales will go out this next month. They'll all be laid out while it's dry.
And set up for the winter.
Okay. Yeah.
Right, let's have an advert quickly and we'll get back into it.
Crystalyx Extra High Energy feed blocks have been providing high energy supplementation to ewes, lambs and rams in the UK since 1978. Packed full of protein, vitamins, minerals and trace elements, Crystalyx Extra High Energy has been proven to increase live lamb numbers and improve lamb daily live weight gain at a cost of only 4 to 7 pence per ewe per day. To view the full Crystalyx range and find your nearest stockist, visit crystalyx-global.com.
I should say, just off the back of that advert, I did notice Crystalyx buckets out the side there. Organic garlic.
Yes.
Licks.
Yes.
And I suppose that leads us into the fact you are transitioning to organic now.
Your first year in to organic. Yep.
It was on Radio Scotland the other day that there's more and more farmers going organic. Now, I don't know that that's true. Is that true?
I don't know. I
find that hard to believe.
Yeah, I thought the stat was that was a lot of people coming to the end of their term and coming out.
Yes. And by end of their I'm not.
That sounds like they're in prison or something.
Well, a wee bit, aren't they? Aren't they? They are suffering. Let's be honest. But like, I'm not anti-organic, but I'm just not a big believer in it as such as a way to farm. And I thought we had Colin from Ramsden Farm on last week. I think it'd be, depending how I edit it and how it comes out. He sells as organic, but he's not organic certified.
Okay.
He's consumer certified.
Okay.
He says.
Yes.
And he's slightly different than you, because you have to sell to to through markets and through official bodies. He sells direct to customer.
Yep.
He says, anybody doubts us, come to the farm. We'll show you how we farm.
Yes.
So we're not saying this is organic certified. We're telling you it's organic. Like come and see it. It's his thing, and that gives him a bit of leeway with certain things like his straw. Although to be fair, he uses shavings for most of stuff, but simple things like you wouldn't need to buy organic straw for certain jobs.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're certified organic, everything has to be organic.
Yeah, or you have to get a derogation to step away from that.
Which is my next issue with the organic thing is there's no such thing as organic sheep.
Yeah, well, I've heard you talk about this before, but I probably have to be careful what I'm saying. I am organic now, but it's been a real learning curve for me the first year.
Yeah,
I will say that. And the reason we went organic, we were practically organic anyway.
Yes,
especially
A
land-based.
lot of people. I this is my first year ever putting nitrogen on.
Is that right?
It was because we're cutting silage.
Yeah.
So we've been organic, and all right, not organic because we're buying we've got Crystalyx buckets and other things that aren't organic. But in terms of nitrogen and stuff like that, but a lot of sheep farmers will be. Look at the hill boys.
Yep.
But sorry, on you go. I can't be organic. I should say maybe that's why because I don't own the land or have a long enough lease.
Sure.
But sorry, what was your learning curve?
We've gone organic because of the money. It's as simple as that. And I will be totally honest.
I wanted to phone Radio Scotland and say that because none of the guys on Speaking of Organic mentioned that.
Yeah.
It was all about, it makes me feel good and, it's great for the planet.
It certainly ties in with our business.
Yes,
ethos.
nature farming friendly.
Nature-friendly
farming. Yeah.
But we've transitioned from a conventional farm into this sort of more resilient type of farming, call it what you like, nature-based farming. And that transition period has cost us a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay. Lots of fencing, lots of new water schemes, change of breeds, staffing. That's cost us a lot of money. It's like dropping production and cash flow in the first 2 years as we transitioned. And we needed to get some money from somewhere to put back in the bank to help us go forward. We line up with all the organic principles and stuff.
Yeah.
I think the question around organic is that how long has organic been around? 50, 60, 70 years, and they're still only about 1.5%, 2% of the market.
Well, some would say we were organic for thousands of years until 1946 or whenever nitrogen fertiliser.
Yep.
Because I saw a podcast talk about that the other day, and they said something like, what was it said? The life expectancy has never been higher since we stopped being solely organic. It's more to do with medicine than to do with organic feed. But I thought he was poking fun a little bit because medicine is obviously the reason we're living longer. But he did say everybody goes on about how healthy organic food is and all that. Well, since we started using nitrogen fertiliser, folk are living to their 90s. But that's another story. But sorry, organic in its current form. It's only been about for a very short time. But you said the money, and I said in Radio Scotland, that's not one person mentioned the subsidy. Not one person. But the subsidy and you let it slip there a wee bit that you said they were coming to the end of their term. And tell me if I'm wrong here, but there's like a 5-year descending scale.
Yes.
In terms of payments.
2 years up front, sort of conversion money, and then a 3-year maintenance payment. And the maintenance payment does carry on, but you're committed to 5 years. And I would envisage that we stay organic. Like
I imagine you would, by the type of farming you're doing.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people just do it for the money.
There is a lot of people just go in it and then come out of it.
Yeah, and then once they've got that 5 year of it, realise actually I don't like looking at thistles all the time. You have a fantastic wee batch coming up. Sorry, mate, I had to just throw that in. It's like, first thing I come up the yard, I'm like, do you know how you know a farm's organic? The thistles. But so I'm winding you up. But, and I love a good thistle. It's very Scottish. But, they're coming to that 5 years. The weeds are out of control. The farm's looking like shit. Probably because of management. They're not doing, they're not using the cattle properly to come round and do that thing. And they're like, back out it again. We've had our money. Let's go back to normal farming.
Although, I suppose there's a couple of farmers that I admire, and
only two
that are organic.
Is Michael one of them? No,
Michael's not.
No.
There's a couple of boys in Northumberland that are top operators, and they've been organic, I think, for 25 years. They're really, really on it.
Charlie Armstrong.
Not Charlie Armstrong.
But
I do know Charlie Armstrong.
He was organic. I don't know if he still is.
Yeah, he's a big operator. But the Nellis boys, I don't know if you know the Nellis
I know
boys.
that name somehow.
Yeah. Duncan and Gus, they've been organic.
Michael did a podcast with him.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah, he was good. He's a good talker as
Yeah,
well.
they're very good. And they've been organic for about 25 years. So it does work. It does work, definitely. It just makes you think differently.
Well, once you get a market set up too, it's worth mentioning. I'm not really joking. I can't believe what I'm saying. Like, that is the most recent people do it, but I'm poking fun a little bit because I can care less. But you've also got, once you've got your market set up for your buyers, you're also getting a big premium for your lamb and your beef.
And the beef. Yeah, the beef premium's been good.
Wool.
Yep.
I think you get about an extra 50 pence a kilo for wool.
Yep.
Straight away, which might not sound, but it's a lot of money when you're running 3,000 Romneys or whatever.
Yep.
Did we say? I said we said 3,500 Romneys. Was that?
There's about 3,000 Romneys.
3,000 total. Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, that comes to a lot of money.
Yep.
And it's not to be laughed at. You know, it certainly covers. Now all of a sudden your shearing's paid for and more.
Yep.
So there is other benefits.
Yes.
It all counters off with, all right, you're maybe not using hard feed, but simple things like your lick buckets and all that, I dare say, are a good bit dearer.
A lot dearer.
Yeah.
And I think that's, we weren't using a lot of hard feed anyway, but it makes you really think about getting it right so that you don't, when it's 550, 600 pound a ton, you really have to think about your maths, and that's what it's made me do in the last 12 months, is really make me think about and a lot of this kind of building evidence. So if we want a worm, if we want a treat, we've got to build evidence. We do a lot of feet leg counting and all that sort of stuff,
Well, this is where this organic lamb thing, because the only difference between organic lamb and, say, lamb that I sell is that the pasture, well, not even, most of my grass is no nitrogen, no nothing, and it hasn't been for years because I've had it rented for years.
Yep.
So technically, I suppose there's no difference other than it's certified, because you still worm your lambs.
Yes, but our withholding period's doubled.
But you're with,
I mean, which
means what? What's the withholding period in a bottle of? It's 8 days.
Yeah, okay.
So how many lambs will I be selling within 16 days of dosing?
Yeah, sure.
Probably
sure.
none.
No, good point.
I'm poking fun a bit,
yeah,
but
no,
also
no. Yeah, I get that.
The consumer doesn't understand it.
No.
The consumer thinks, oh, that's chemical free, that's virgin lamb we're getting there.
Yeah.
But they're actually treated the same. Most of them get click as well.
Yeah.
Because you can get a derogation on click for the vet.
Yeah.
Because it's animal welfare.
Yeah.
The ewes will get a fluke dose because they must have a fluke dose because they can't survive without it. It's the west of Scotland. Or does this count as the west of Scotland? No, this will be central Scotland. No. But you know what I'm saying? I'm poking fun a little bit. Cattle, maybe, I don't know enough about cattle. Maybe cattle don't need anything, do they?
We don't really give out cattle anything.
No, so it's cattle, I think we're clarified in this podcast, cattle are such a better animal, just what an animal. Sheep are so much bloody work. Do you foot vax the ewes or anything like that?
No.
Well, at least that's one. Do you Heptivac them?
We do use Heptivac,
So they get, so people are eating the anti-vaxxers will hate that. They're eating vaccinated meat. Oh my God. You know what I mean though? It's like, the consumer doesn't know that though.
No. No.
And that's what I always think with organic, it's like, also makes it really easy to swap to organic. Not easy, but not as difficult as you might think. As a farmer, some farmers might think, oh, you can't do anything with your sheep. How could you manage sheep if you're organic?
Yes, yeah.
But you just need to do it through the vet and get set up. The nitrogen would be the thing.
That's
my wee rant about it.
We have a good relationship with our vet, and he understands what we're trying to achieve, and we're trying to move away from all of that stuff.
Of course you are. If you don't need to do it, you won't do it. And the difference is, rather than blanket dosing, you're doing fecal egg counts and you're proving that they need the dose, as opposed to a lot of people just blanket dose.
Yes.
I'm poking fun a little bit, but the crux of what I'm saying is true. Even if it's only me that believes it. So I suppose back on to this farm here, interesting you do that. You get a spare one of them?
Yep, I'll give you one.
I'll take one, right, and I'll do a wee video to try some of my skills at home.
Yep.
But behind me here, and you switched it off, we had the generator going, or the aerator, is it maybe?
We were making compost tea,
Yeah, and I've visited this farm before with Landlord, actually. We did a piece about this compost you're making. And Colin from Ramsden, again, I mentioned him again, said he does a bit of advising on microbiology and soils. And he mentioned this, I call it a slurry, but you guys would hate calling it that because slurry's like you're a demon to you, innit? You guys hate slurry, don't you?
We don't hate slurry. We just
be honest, man.
We
You hate slurry, that's fine. Like, when you can't think of another word, just go with it. But I understand why, because it kills the biology.
Yeah, it can do,
Yeah. So you're now making your own liquid fertilizer, would be a better term.
It's not... Yeah, so we're growing biology as opposed to growing nutrients. It's not about nutrients.
Yep.
It's about biology. It's about the biology,
Bacteria.
fungi and bacteria.
Yep.
So after doing the infiltration tests, we did fungi and bacteria ratio testing.
Yeah.
And behind this telly here, actually, there's a sort of a mural on the wall that shows rock at this end being colonized by moss. It's sort of really bacteria dominated right up to a fully functioning forest.
Yeah.
And that's fungi dominated.
Yeah.
And grassland in the middle is about 1-to-1. And when we did lots of testing off the back of the infiltration test, we were finding that they're all bacteria dominated soils. Wasn't a lot of fungi compacted,
What's the difference between bacteria and fungi?
What's the
One's
difference?
a good laugh. Sorry, there you go. What is the difference?
They serve different functions in the soil food web. Yeah.
What's the good one? What's the bad one?
Well, they're both beneficial.
Yeah.
We need both of them.
Yeah.
They're both all around us, but especially bacteria. They're everywhere, aren't they? But we want more diversity of both, and that's what we're growing in our. These are called Johnson Soup bioreactors.
Yep.
So it's static aerobic compost. Sits for about 14 months.
What's in it?
So we start off with wood chip.
Wood chip that's been used as bedding, or just clean wood
You
chip?
can use wood chip that's been used for bedding. So we want small wood chip, diverse wood chip, and
Wood chip, wood fines? No, is that too?
no more.
Something
You want
like it's there and about.
Yeah, exactly. And then we mix it with. So that's sort of like your carbon source, and then we mix it in with like either farmyard manure, grass clippings, something with a bit of nitrogen in it. And then we mix all other things in. Sometimes we put coffee grounds in, we might put wool in, we might put whatever's sort of lying around. We've got a worm farm over this side that breeds worms that we put in there as well. We want it moist at the start.
Yep.
It has to go through this like heating stage. It's called a hemophilic stage. And then we leave it for 14 months. And it's got air tubes all through it, so it stays aerobic.
Yes, it keeps it alive.
Yep. And that diversity grows, and there's evidence that shows that actually between month 12 and 14, there's this massive exponential curve of growth in diversity. And then I've got a guy, Jamie Jack, who comes in and uses the microscope and stuff and looks at all the different bugs and beasties. And then when we're happy that it's there, we extract the biology from the material. So we either sieve it or we use a big paint mixer, and then we turn it into a Scotch broth, we call it, and we put it through a 400 micron sock and a 100 micron sock, and that's where we get that kind of goopy stuff that we put into our sprayer and we spray it out in the field.
Yeah, you put it in an IBC, you keep the air flowing through it all the time. Even when you're spraying it, you still keep the air pumping through it.
Yeah, and we've got low pressure because that rips up all your fungi, and we've got big sweeping bends because it all gets smashed about, and then we get out and spread it out. And at early days, but where we have tested at the start and had bacteria-dominated soils with very little fungi, we're getting back to 1-to-1.
Okay.
In our trial plot, we had lots of things going on, but what I wanted to do in my trial plot was to show what we were doing and show what some of the conventional methods were as well. So we've done ploughing, we've done spraying and direct drilling, we've done grazing and drilling, and sward lifted and subsoiled and got a control. And then going at 90 degrees, we've got compost brew.
Yeah.
We've got an NP and K, like conventional nitrogen fertilizer, and then we've got a seaweed mix, and then another couple of things going on. And what it's showing is that as much as when you plough a field and put ryegrass in and put fertilizer on, it grows like stink. Okay, so with plate meter reading and doing all that, and we're measuring that real fast growth. It does everything it says it should do on the tin. But when the pressure comes on, so if we get dry, we can see the resilience actually changing in those different strips, and we find that the ryegrass wants to go to seed more in the area that hasn't had the compost.
Yeah.
And we see that actually the colour and the rigidity of the plants aren't as good. And we've got a really good video of the picking plantain out the two strips on a hot day, and the plantain in the NP and K strip sort of flopping down, and our strip with the compost brew standing up.
Yep.
We've then sent soil samples to the States, and we've done soil respiration tests. We found we've got higher soil respiration. So that's where they take the soil and they completely dry it out, add moisture, and then measure the respiration from all the biology.
Yeah, okay.
So we've got higher biology in our compost strip, and we've got higher organic nitrogen available in our strip compared to the strip that had the artificial nitrogen. So that's really interesting for me to talk to farmers as to actually, if we can sequester some of that nitrogen in
It's
the atmosphere,
natural nitrogen's been brought in by the...
and put it down, it's a big cost saving. And instead of watching a YouTube video of some joker in America doing it, actually it's working in Scotland,
Peebles.
in Peebles here too.
Is it worth it?
Well, I think our early indication is that showing that when we get those fungi bacteria levels back to normal, it's giving us a bit more resilience in the system, alongside the change of grazing and that longer rest. Definitely, they're all sort of syncing together. Can I put it into monetary terms? Maybe not yet. Is it a bit kind of anecdotal? Yes. We've done strips all over the farm at different rates, GPS marked all over but actually we can do all the science that we like. The best thing is when the shepherds or the guys and girls that work for me come back in and go, do you know what? The cattle ate that bit, or they didn't like that bit, or I can see actually when I'm on the hill and I look down.
Palatability is a big factor too.
What's that?
The palatability of it is a big factor too.
Of course, 100%. And
what do you think of the seaweed? I have seaweed fertilizer to go in from Mark Edwards.
Okay. Yeah, well, we've done a bit with David Edwards, his old man.
David, yeah.
I walked out this trial plot with David, and he made me eat grass, taste grass,
right?
And
he is a big lad, to be fair. I can imagine he could quite easily do that.
Yeah, there was definitely a difference. You could taste the difference between the strip that had seaweed and the strip that hadn't had seaweed. You could definitely taste the difference, and we did it in 3 or 4 patches.
Because that's part of the, I think it's more palatable.
100% more palatable.
And a bit more longevity in the growth rate over nitrogen. Obviously organic as well. I believe it's organic.
Yeah, it's organic. Yeah, and I mean anything that comes from the sea, that's where all our nutrients end. You know,
it's back in the sea.
Back in the sea.
That's a very good way of putting it.
If we can.
So yeah, you think seaweed fertilizer is all right?
I think it's a good idea. Yeah,
because I've got something to do that reseed of mine.
Yeah, we're just about to do some seaweed trials with feeding it to the stock here. We feed quite a bit of willow to the stock.
Okay,
it's quite an interesting story. So just out in the front field here, so I blood test my ewes, and I sap analysis the grass. I've got a graph, not to hand, but there's certain elements that are short in both of those. They sort of mirror each other. It would make sense, wouldn't it, if what the sheep are eating is what's in the grass.
That's what should affect their blood tests. Yeah,
exactly. So they're short in cobalt, they were short in iron, and they were low in zinc. Okay, yep. I test the willow trees 3 meters away, and it was chocker full of cobalt, absolutely chocker full of cobalt, quite a bit of zinc, and a little bit of the iron, and I can't remember all the other elements. And I'm just going, everybody tells me that our soils are short of cobalt, yet the trees right next door are sucking cobalt out the ground in bucket loads. And if you feed willow to lambs, people done trials about how they grow better on willow because of the cobalt. A bit like if you give them Smart Shot. So again, it makes me think about how we bring that into our grazing system. We're putting in medicinal hedges in all our fields. We're going to have a look at some in a minute, so that every time an animal's in a field, they have access to graze a diverse sort of species of willow and alder and such like, so that they can rebalance what it is that they're missing in the grass. And you think about the deer that cruise around the farms here. Like I don't catch them and give them a bolus, or so whatever that animal needs is nice and shiny. It's got a young one running with it. It's accessing it in our landscape. It's all here. You know, there's lots of evidence that says everything we need is down there. There's infinite resource down there. We just need to be able to get roots down, or
deep enough,
mycorrhizal fungi down to go and seek it, or that complex world that happens beneath us that we've got absolutely no idea what's happening. It's happening in the willow trees right next door. Like that just blows my mind. So I think the upside of trying to work out if this is even if what I'm banging on here is 10% right, and we can access some more nutrients, and I don't have to start putting boluses down throats of animals or whatever, because all of those interventions that me and the staff are doing all the time is time and money. It's just and stress on men and stress on stock, and it's just we just want to be farming and enjoying it, and watching the animals thrive in it, giving them everything they need naturally. Might be a bit woo-woo, but...
Oh, it's all woo-woo, I think it's fair to say. Well, it is. But that's not to mean it's wrong. Like, it's okay to want to... It's you know, it's a bit like, you imagine like John Lennon, like imagine all the people living just as one. You know, like, it's right. He's right.
Yeah.
But it's a bit of a dream as well, you know, in that type of farming.
Yeah.
Like, I'm interested in it. I want to learn about it, and I believe in it. I absolutely believe in what you're saying, and the science behind it makes absolute sense. Do I see it like becoming a big part of Scottish agriculture? Probably not for a long, long time, if ever, because of the way the world is, and you know, just the way things are, and systems have been set the way they've been set. But it doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't encourage it, because there might be a day that we really need it.
Yeah.
And like people like yourself that are raising your head above the parapet, opening yourself to criticism, and taking a chance, like, they should be lauded and pushed on and say, right, I don't want to do it, but I'm glad you're doing it, because it's good information we need to know, and we might need someday. And that's how I feel about it all, and that's how, you know, like I'm always interested to hear what you're doing, what you're up to, how it's going, and other people like yourself that are doing similar things, because there's a chance we may need it all someday. And it's always better having somebody else, like you've mentioned, and you've really touched on a few, but God knows how many things you've done that you've made an ass of, you know, that. So I'd rather you do that than I have to do it.
Yeah. And I'm always happy to talk about where I've gone wrong, because if somebody wants to have a go at some of this, there's no point in them making the same mistakes as I've made.
Get a skip ahead. I think you've also info at Neidpath Farms there as the email address. You're quite happy to advise people if they want to.
I don't really do it advisory stuff. We have lots of people come through this shed, and we talk. We do stuff with SRUC. I do stuff with the vet colleges. And it's just a slightly different approach. You know,
you do sell your mixture.
Yeah, we have Jamie Jack sort of heading this up, and Jamie's looking into doing more retail and more advisory stuff around that. That's a bit more complex. That's been 3 or 4 years of real hard graft and lots of mistakes in there. And the worm farmers. I mean, look at the worm farmers in a right mess. We're having to empty it out. We've got that completely wrong. We haven't kept it wet enough, so it's all getting shoveled out and refilled. You know, and there's no point, if you want to grow some worms because you're doing compost, there's no point you making that same mistake. I'm happy to list those things, you know. And who knows where it's going to go. One thing I do know is the climate's changing, whether you believe it or not. I know it's changing, and I'm just not sure about this subsidy thing.
Subs are going to go. Because especially Scotland, they're going in England. How can the NHS? How can we expect the NHS to run at a deficit and struggle when, you know, they're still putting all this money? Now, I know it keeps the cost of food down, and I know there's lots of good reasons for it, but it's about what the public think. I'm not talking about where the money should go, because the NHS is a black hole that will never be fixed, but it's what wins votes. And we can't government are not going to keep looking at putting money into farming, which is a tiny part of the voter base, when the NHS is struggling. So I do think we need to worry a bit about that in the future, and you're obviously trying to build a resilient system. We don't need to rely on subsidy, despite your organic for
I rely on subsidy. I think my view is that actually, I think farmers should get paid to produce good food, but maybe the payments are going that way deliver different outcomes.
But don't we already get paid to produce good food?
We do, we do. But I think the farmers should still be supported. I think that even if you want to transition some people into a slightly different system, whatever that system might be, government have to understand it.
I don't agree. I know you're talking about a slightly different system there, and you're being a bit vague. But like, I don't agree with this, like giving people money to plant like birdseed.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that.
These SFIs down south, that's a waste of taxpayers' money. Like, fair enough, you subsidise farmers to sell their food, to sell their meat and grain at not less than cost of production, but barely enough to make a profit. So the subsidy helps keep the whole thing ticking, helps keep farmers more efficient, because they've got a bit more money to spend on things they need to keep moving forward. But giving them money to plant game crops and these wild bird crops is madness to me.
No, but if you can help farmers integrate that within their system, just widely by thinking about it maybe slightly differently.
So, I don't mind putting like saying to farmers do more environmental things perhaps, and rewarding that. Okay, but even like set aside pisses me off.
Yeah. No.
Like farmers, a lot of folk don't realise, but like farmers, I think it's if you do a certain amount of arable, farmers have to leave a field in fallow, like sitting doing nothing. They don't have to plant a crop in it for the birds or anything. They just have to sit it doing nothing as part of their subsidy payment, which is madness.
Yeah.
That could be just in food.
Yeah.
But the taxpayer's paying money to the farmer to sit a field doing nothing, which I just do not agree with at all.
Yeah.
But that's all changing, to be fair. I think from next year that's all changing. You actually have to plant a crop in, things like that. Now, don't quote me on that. There is something changing.
I'm not
a certain percentage of your farm has to be put into forage rape or some other crops, mustard seeds or whatever, which is maybe falling into that SFI trap. I could go on a wee rant about that, but yeah, I do see the subsidies easing back over the next few years and probably need to find more resilient ways, low cost ways. And if people have a farm like you're set up, good hill to winter cattle. I'm conscious of our time, and we could chat here all day, and we're going to go and do a wee tour now and we'll chat again for another hour or so. But I suppose the question I ask you is, why do you have the sheep?
It does come up a lot. It does come up a lot. I'm quite passionate about sheep. So there's that.
Yeah.
The manager's passionate.
You've made that clear.
I'm passionate about wool. I still think there's a place for wool. Now, we won't go down there because that'll be another hour.
Yeah.
But and I think actually not having all my eggs in one basket, sheep and cattle enterprise. We haven't even talked about the pig enterprise in the woods.
Yeah.
And we're about to embark on a chicken enterprise as well. Following the cows.
That's
so
the
I think
same as Colin. You'll enjoy that podcast.
Yeah.
That's what he does. Yeah.
So we talk about diversity in swards. We talk about diversity in biology. We talk about diversity of, I think everything, business diversity. I think that's why we don't want all farm. We had Nature Scott in here and they were asking me if I could define our type of grazing. We don't want everybody grazing the same. We want business diversity across rural Scotland.
Yeah.
We want, within diversity within businesses. So I suppose that's part of keeping the sheep. It's another diverse income stream. And come back in 5 years and see if I've still got the sheep or I've bred a sheep that can live on long grass.
So the sheep will be gone. Okay, that's God, what a sad way to end the podcast. But Matt, an absolute pleasure. Is it you of course tweedtrotters.com? Very quickly, just your rearing pigs in the woods.
Yeah, so we've got a local guy who was small land at home, 1 acre.
Yeah.
Wanted to expand. We were like, well, we've got
Loads
hundreds of acres of woods.
Yep.
You do a rotation through the wood. As staff and owners get some pork in their freezer, and he gets to. He was first year he was sort of 10 pigs.
Yep.
Last year he was 50. This year he's 100 pigs into farmers markets. Great way to grow a local guy.
Yep.
Giving him opportunity. We're talking a bit about that this morning, but one of my aims here is to run a resilient, profitable business that allows more opportunity for more people across the farms.
Yeah.
A lot of the line is a little hamlet up the road. I think there's a census with 120 people on it or something. There's maybe 20 or 30 there. All these border farms used to have lots and lots of people. We got lots of old cottages. Let's fill them back up with young people, creating opportunities that fit in with the ethos of the farm. Let's make it a cool, vibrant place to be. Let's work.
Yeah, you're definitely woo-woo. But it's sorry. Imagine all the people just living just as one.
Yeah.
No, you're right though, mate. Listen, I love it. It's an absolute dream. You're right. And there is opportunity in the countryside if there's people with land, because a lot of people with land, they don't utilise it, and it could be given opportunity to people like us. So good on you for sorting that out. The whole team at Neidpath. Listen, fantastic. We could sit here and talk for 3 hours, because before this podcast started, we've blared for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
We're going to blare for another hour after it. But I've got to edit this bloody thing.
Can I just say one thing?
No, I don't let you go.
I'm conscious that I've talked about myself
This
doesn't
is a
happen.
podcast about you.
Yeah, but this is a team effort here at Neidpath. And
Thanks, mate. Listen, I don't need that. Nobody ever thanks me. Nobody ever thanks me, mate. I appreciate
I only
as you
did
go.
this to meet Iona, and she's not even here.
I know.
You know, the team here are awesome. We've got Derek up the road. You know, he's been here with me for 3 years through the pain.
Yeah.
He's an awesome fellow. He's doing a really good job. And we're always on the lookout because we've got other opportunities happening. We're always on the lookout for young, keen people that want to come and join the team. So if anybody's out there looking for the next opportunity, get in touch because the team is growing and the opportunities are. We've got some more opportunities coming in. So
brilliant. And there you go. info@neidpathfarms.co.uk, or you can get them on social media at neidpath_farms.
Yep.
I'll put that info below. Matt, absolute pleasure, gentlemen, as always. Let's go for a tour, will we?
Okay.
Let's do it.
Cheers.
And we're back. If you're watching, we're still sitting in this weird formation here.
I feel so weird.
Yeah.
I don't feel relaxed.
We're actually in a little Airbnb kind of thing like this here. Louise is here as well. Shout out to Louise. She likes the podcast. Louise Veach. Hi, Louise, if you're watching.
She will love that. She will love that.
So hi, Louise. Louise is here with us as well. That's it for this one. Long enough podcast, and I've got all this to edit tonight and get out. So thank you to everyone for listening. Thank you to
Haired Watch and Crystalyx.
Do you have anything else you want to tell us? I sometimes ask that, forget. I'm horsing on here.
No, you're just doing all the...
Yeah, get it done.
You're just doing the good... Yeah, this isn't like a chit-chatty one. I feel like this is... Yeah, it's already 8:52.
Late enough.
We've got ploughing tomorrow.
Yeah, Iona got me a Marks and Spencer's thing with cauliflower rice.
I didn't realise.
Actually very good.
Was it?
Actually very good.
Kind of Thai flavoured.
I'm not sure what Thai is, but it was curry flavoured.
Yep.
Yep. So that's what I had, and it was chicken, and it was nice. That's us for this one. Now you know. You hear it all here.
Andy's had.
Well, I've not actually had them yet. I've got this one sitting here for just after the podcast. Iona was showing a Fox's classic there. Fox's, the chocolatey ones, you know, the milk round, the ones you get at Marks and Spencer's, that the double chocolate, as much chocolate as biscuit.
And Marks and Spencer's, not these ones.
Oh, you get these Marks and... Well, it's just Fox's.
But isn't not Marks and Spencer's own brand?
Oh.
Marks and Spencer's chocolatey rounds.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I've had these before, then I'm getting
We'll do a
confused.
live taste test. Let us know what you think.
Well,
Is that one or two?
no, these have melted together. Sorry if you're listening to audio. These have melted together. I just don't know how I feel about it. I feel like I only wanted one. I feel like the texture I prefer is one now. This is just a mass of...
Yeah. Oh,
No,
not
no,
enough
no,
chocolate. There's not enough chocolate.
I've been Cammy,
I've been Iona.
and we're all
Big Bad Farmers.
Not enough chocolate.
That's actually not enough chocolate.